Oops.
Welcome back.
Hang on. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I wasn't ready to. I wasn't paying attention. Hang on. I'm going to run it anyway. Here we go.
Welcome back to Earth Station Trek, a show where we trek from the early days on NBC to the future on Paramount Plus and everywhere in between. I'm Charles Kelso, and it's my privilege to introduce the Earth Station Trek crew: Keith Johnson.
How goes it, y'all?
Alan Seiler.
What's up, Trekkies?
And Veronica Dashel.
Hi.
And welcome back, everybody.
Yeah, finally got the gang back together, all of us.
Yep. And tonight we're going to be doing part 2 of our Reginald Barclay discussion, talking about his Voyager appearances. But first, we had a little bit of Star Trek news this week. They announced the episode titles for season 4 of Strange New Worlds, which debuts next week. Are you guys excited about Strange New Worlds?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
New track.
Strange New Kirk.
Yeah, so I'm going to do my best to read these titles off because some of them are not in English. So there's Valles Marineris, The Griffin Incident, Human Best Friend, A Case of Chiaroscuro, Level 5 Transporter Accident,
AKA puppets, I'm sure.
Off Hour, Like Chronotons Through the Hourglass, Orders of Magnitude, Once La a Time, and Tomorrow's Enterprise.
A lot of those sound kind of comedic.
I haven't seen these yet, so
Me either.
coming on here is the first that I knew that episode titles have come out. So is that what was the third one? Is it Shades of?
The third one was Human Best Friend.
No, another one.
Case of Chiaroscuro.
Chiaroscuro?
Probably.
Which is the contrast between light and shadow.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say the word confidently because I didn't know how to pronounce it.
It's a painting term, and it was most used by I believe, if I remember my art history, it was most used by an artist called De Chirico.
Yeah, and it gives reference a lot in noir lighting. And
yes.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So yeah, I do know that term. I guess I don't read it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's super interesting. Ooh, what if it's all in black and white? That would be so cool. But
That
like
would be
stark
cool.
That would be
lighting.
cool.
And which is the one that Veronica said was puppets?
Level 5 Transporter Accident. That was her. She's speculating that's a puppet episode.
Oh, I never thought of that.
A lot of people have been speculating about Tomorrow's Enterprise.
Yeah.
Which I can't imagine is actually going to be an Enterprise from the future. Maybe. But my guess is it's a reference to like Kirk's Enterprise of a few years.
Agreed.
You know,
that's exactly what I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
You're right.
As much as they've been pushing Kirk, come on.
Right.
Of course, that's what it is.
I'm curious about Like Chronotons Through the Hourglass, which of course is like a soap opera title.
Yes, 100%. So another gimmick episode.
Yeah. Days of
But
Our Lives.
I think that's a good title, though.
It's a cute title.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, you've had things before like Looking for Parmok in all the wrong places, and other kitschy titles like that. So you don't necessarily want to write it off immediately.
Yeah.
What I find interesting, and this is not a criticism, is the titles are much less pretentious sounding than Star Trek has had throughout its existence. A lot less Latin and Shakespearean quotes and things like that. Like that's that famous one from DS9 that I can't pronounce. The Inter Arnhem something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are very kind of normal titles, which is interesting.
Yeah, they tend to go a little cutesier with their titles.
Yeah. Right.
But they're not afraid of a Latin title.
It's a far cry from "Let that be your last battlefield."
Yes,
or those kind of like
Requiem for Methuselah
phrases.
For the world is hollow, and I have touched the sky.
Exactly. I kind of missed those titles.
Speaking of, I have just finished my front to back watch through of season 3.
Okay, I remember you talked about that before.
I finished it.
How did it go?
I'm just going to say it is not nearly as bad as people make it out to be.
I know.
There was so much good stuff in that. I really loved it. Anyway, on to our news.
I'm gonna try to do that as well, Alan, so that I come in with fresh, and I'm starting tonight. I'll get it done by next Thursday. I'm curious to check it out again too.
Yeah.
So Keith, do we have any This Week in Trek this week?
Yeah, just a couple of things, not a whole lot. So here we go. I'm already talking. This is something I found very interesting. And nowadays when we have streaming and stuff like that, and I guess we still have some things like this, I didn't realize this, but the original series premiered in the United Kingdom on the 12th of July, 1969.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know. And I guess back then, I've read so much stuff about this series premiering in Japan and Germany and the Netherlands. And I guess I kind of assumed it was all within like the same year. It was not even close to that back in the day.
Yeah, it was brought over by, I believe, ITV, and they put it up against Doctor Who.
Really?
Yeah.
And how did that actually work out?
I mean, it was a flashy American in color show. Doctor Who at that time was in black and white, and what they wanted to do was show Doctor Who to be old fashioned, and that they were yes. So it had its effect for a while.
So did that have anything to do with the decision to go color for Doctor Who the following year?
No. The BBC was already making that move on most all of their shows that were in production at that time.
Okay.
So no, it didn't have anything to do with it.
Okay.
Veronica, you weren't around, so you don't know, but you probably know what Alan was just saying about color. Man, there's so many shows that started black and white back in the day and went color. Gilligan's Islands, Bewitched, Beverly Hillbillies, on and on and on. So I think what Alan was saying. Yeah. Alan, I honestly did not know that was brought in to compete with Doctor Who. That is amazing.
ITV put all kinds of things up against Doctor Who just to get it knocked down in the ratings, and that was always their thing.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't like IT.
Interesting. All right, another one, and I mentioned this just because this is a classic episode for a lot of reasons. The 14th of July, 1967 was the birthday of filming for The Apple.
Oh, okay.
Veronica, I know you know that one, right?
That's the one with funny.
That's the one where David Soul from Starsky and Hutch and the white-headed people were feeding the stone.
It's Vol.
Vol, the cave with the lizard face on it. And it's the one. And it's the one. Okay, it's the one where the flower.
You could do this all night, Keith.
Let's keep right. Okay, so the thing about the episode is it's a classic Star Trek episode, and I think it has arguably the highest number of red shirts killed in a single episode, because like one of them steps on a rock and gets blown up, one of them gets killed by poison darts from a flower.
Yeah.
It's a killer planet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's that old Star Trek trope of like, wow, what a beautiful planet.
Yes.
Trying to kill them.
Yeah. And it also has one of the classic prime directive arguments in Star Trek. Because
did it have tree people that rounded up other plants?
No. No.
She's talking about the Gold Key Comics issue now.
Oh yeah. Those things are great.
Sounded right.
But it's a classic Star Trek because, and it's an actual really good argument. Here's a race of people who obviously descended from some incredibly advanced people who now live incredibly primitive. They don't even have sex. They don't age. They just feed the computer. Kirk, quote unquote, frees them, and Spock's like, should you have done that? It's an incredible conversation because what happened when the first person kills the first person on that planet? Very, very classic Star Trek.
Especially because there's only 12 of them.
Yeah.
Right. One death has an impact.
Yeah.
And it's also the first verbal reference of separating the saucer section from the main body of the ship.
Good call. I forgot about that. He said, yeah, separate the sauce and crack out of there with the main section.
Exactly.
Yeah. And also a real weird thing, Kirk fires Scotty. I still don't understand that. And then he rehires him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just things happen.
Yeah. Two more. And this is kind of along the lines of our Barclay thing. On the 15th of July, 1992 was the final draft for an episode I don't really like, but others do, Realm of Fear.
Okay.
And we just talked about. That's the one where Barclay, that weird thing where he's scared. Evidently, he has
the transporter. And
yeah.
Transporter.
And it confused me how the transporter works because the people look like worms in the beam. I don't understand that show, but it was a Barclay. For me personally, it was a step too far with Barclay being the guy with all the phobias and the things. It was like now he has transporter phobia on top of all his other issues. It's fine, but Dwight Schultz is a great actor, so I can just watch the the episode.
Yeah.
And the last one, and I just want to do this. I thought this was very interesting. On the 17th of July, 1955, is the birth of a guy I'd never heard of till Discovery, Paul Stamets.
Okay.
Which
the real life guy?
Yeah, the real life mycologist who evidently did. I think, Alan, you mentioned this way back when. He actually did talk about a potential mycelial network. And I just read an interview with him, and he joked about how magic mushrooms have had a play in some of his theories. So, very interesting guy.
If you ever read his theories, I believe him.
They're out there. That's This Week in Trek.
All right. Want to grab some comments?
Let's get some comments. Bill says, Barclay is easily one of my favorite characters. I'm guessing that a lot of people identify with him. I'm not much like him in particular, but in social awkwardness all the way.
Okay.
And our buddy Jarl Thunder says, in space, HR can't hear you be fired. And Wayne says, I remember ABC's proclamation before every show under the new format, in color.
Oh, you're right. And NBC really played up the peacock feathers because the peacock.
Oh, exactly.
The colors.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, good call, Wayne.
All right. Well, just recently we did an episode talking about Reginald Barclay, his appearances on Next Gen. You guys ready to talk about Reginald Barclay's appearances on Star Trek Voyager?
Let's do it.
There he is.
There he is. Look at that. I found the creepiest picture of him ever.
Yeah, he does look weird there. He does look creepy.
But it was one of the only ones that was like in high res of the uniform that he was wearing in the Voyager episodes. So I went with
This is from Inside Man, right?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
Oh, that would explain the expression then.
Yep.
Good call. Yeah.
Yep. And he was on that holodeck that they used a lot in that episode.
Yes, he was.
That's the murderous Barclay facsimile. Okay.
I wouldn't say murderous, but
so I guess first thing, do you feel like Barclay was shoehorned into Voyager? Because they tried that with a couple of characters on Next Gen, Q and Loxana Troy for DS9 that didn't really fit, and so they abandoned it. But then you have them sort of shift that attention to Voyager. Do you feel like Barclay feels natural there, or do you feel like they sort of wedged him in?
That's an interesting question.
I've expressed this before, and I do get it. How should I say this without sounding a certain way? I felt Barclay was okay if they brought him in because of his brilliance. Me personally, I kind of felt continuing to play up his phobias and insecurities. Felt that made it feel more shoehorned in. Like if he had just thought about Voyager and had some great ideas, it would have been fine. Of course, some people would say that wasn't Barclay, but he was once again regressing, and he was playing holodeck with them, and he was obsessing over them. Now, look, a lot of people have said that's the point of Barclay. People have certain emotional issues and stuff, and they never get over them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying I want him perfect, but I kind of felt like the way they played it up with his phobias and his insecurities, his obsession with Voyager, I felt a little tired of the plot like that. That's me.
I have things to say about that, but that pertains to the second episode that we're going to talk about. I got little images and I put them in order, so I'll save my comments.
Then go ahead to the first image.
Well, no, let's hear. I want to hear what Veronica thinks about.
Yeah.
About Barclay in general, or
did you shoehorned into Voyager? Or do you think it's a natural
part.
Fit?
Shoehorned a little bit to an extent. But I feel like in several of the episodes he was well used. In several of the episodes, it could have been anyone.
Yeah,
not
sure.
Barclay.
Sure.
And they probably used him because they had used him before and he was available.
And popular,
yeah.
I kind of feel that way about some of his last one or two Next Generation appearances also, that it didn't have to maybe they had an agreement with him that we'll use you once every season or something like that. But there's a couple of them that could have been anybody.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's sort of what they did though with the TNG and Voyager type storytelling. Is you'll have the big Klingon episode, the Q episode, the Barclay episode, right? You have the things that recur season after season. I do think it felt more natural on TNG because at least he served on that ship,
right?
So it feels more natural that Barclay comes walking down the hallway as opposed to this guy we've met before as Star Trek fans is halfway across the galaxy and happens to be obsessed with our heroes. You know,
And I think trying to clarify what I'm thinking about Barclay, because again, you got to be very careful talking about mental health and stuff. I think one of the things that I started feeling Barclay was being shoehorned in is Barclay literally became the poster child for mental health in Star Trek. And it's kind of like I wish they could have somehow spread that out a little more than just become him the guy with everything, every phobia, every insecurity you could have. So in Voyager, when they kept playing that up, I just felt, okay, guys, seriously, can we give it a break with just Barclay? I mean, the other person I can think coming close is Geordi can't get a woman, but that's a whole other different thing.
which is
Wow.
it's hard to buy.
Yeah.
See, I don't find him to be shoehorned
Oh,
at
okay.
all. Now, maybe in the first one, but we'll talk about that in just a second. But certainly from his second one on, I feel like they built a plausible story around why he's on the show.
Okay.
Let me get this comment from Jarl Thunder, who says maybe he had the Brent Spiner contract stipulation. If your first choice backs out, I'll do it. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, let's just get into our episode. So the first one that he appears in is from season 2, Projections. And I find this to be a really interesting episode. So they use Barclay. I think this one could be anybody.
Yes.
But you need somebody who's in the Alpha Quadrant, who the audience is familiar with. And I mean, it didn't have to be Barclay. There wasn't anything that they used Barclay specifically for in that episode. But what I love about this episode is that it really plays up the whole idea of like self-awareness and identity. And the Doctor goes through this sort of like identity crisis. And it's super interesting, I think.
Yeah, I think it's interesting for what it does for the Doctor. It's one of those plots that no person watching it thinks for a minute that the Doctor's actually going to turn out to be a human.
No.
You know what I mean? Back on Earth, living in a holodeck, right? Like, it's going to be, he's going to find out none of what Barclay's saying is true by the end. But it's more interesting just for what it does for his character. And also at that point in the show, nice to see him running around different parts of the ship.
Exactly. I think that they do kind of that same thing that they did in that Riker episode, Future Imperfect, where they give you a setup without an explanation and it plays through, and then they pull the rug out from under you and turns out it's a whole different situation. And then at the end, oh my gosh, it's another different situation. And they kind of do that with this one, except for it's like 3 variations of the same situation.
Right.
So they give you that setup, and then they give you that, oh, we're going to give you a twist. But it's cool that the Doctor goes through the experience of what it's like to be alive. And it's cool that they kind of have that like wrestling with who he is and what this means to not be what he's always thought that he was.
Right. Yeah.
I did read online that this episode is highly praised for the character development of the Doctor and the whole concept. Shows like this make me uncomfortable, not because in a bad way, but it's like any Star Trek or the Christopher Nolan movie, the one that ends with the spinning top. Movies, Inception, movies and shows where you, at the end of the day, you kind of like doubt the existence you're in.
Yeah,
they're kind of creepy to me because that can happen. If you've ever been like a kid and thinking way too much about how can we exist if there's nothing before, you'll freak out. At least I did. So I thought it was very good in that way for the Doctor not to know what's real or not. That's always creepy.
Yeah, and I really liked the setup. I like the Doctor waking up and there's no one on the ship. He doesn't know what's happened. Then it turns out there are people on the ship. And then she's like, "Oh, we've been setting up these holo projectors. We can send you around the ship. He gets to see the bridge for the first time, and that sort of thing." And I really liked all of that, which is sort of we're talking about everything except Barclay in this episode,
right? And that's what's interesting about this is that he's a very, very prominent part in this episode. But did he have to be? Yeah, it could have been any. I think it was just cool. And again, this is season 2. All of his other appearances are seasons 6 and 7. So for the longest time, this seemed like a one-off, and it was cool to get him as a one-off. But when you look back at it and look at the things that came after this for him, this just seems like it's why?
Yeah, I'm curious at what point in this process it became Barclay. Because this
Right.
doesn't seem like a story that started off with, let's do a Barclay. You know,
Right.
it seemed like
Yeah.
at some point someone was like, hey, we can get Dwight Schultz to play this guy, you know?
Maybe LeVar
Yeah.
Burton wasn't available and they called up
Needed another
Dwight.
engineer.
Right.
Exactly. That's kind of my theory about it. Like it could have been any of those engineer characters and it still would have worked. But I wonder if, you kind of have to have some level of audience buy-in. And I just wonder if there wouldn't have been the same buy-in if it was Geordi or if it was O'Brien or something, because you know those characters so well and you know they're not going to be. But see, you have to have that will they won't they kind of thing of, is this a plot? Is this a ploy? Is this a manipulation to get the Doctor to do something to actually damage the real ship? I don't know.
Yeah, true. And I guess you trust Barclay more than if it was just a rando. Like if it was just
It couldn't be a rando. Right.
Yeah. Despite what I said about the play on Barclay's mental health issues, Barclay and Dwight Schultz, he portrayed, he's a good character. He always has a slight vulnerability under there that you can relate to. So whether he should have been in the character or not, he works well in it because he always does. And I was thinking, had it been O'Brien, O'Brien would have been the one suffering. So maybe not, they didn't need him.
But what's interesting is that you don't get any of the Barclay-isms.
Yeah.
Because he is in this story a hologram. You never see the real Barclay, so you never get the stammering and you never get the shyness and any of that stuff. It's just a character. So for that reason, I think it's kind of interesting that you see sort of an artificial Barclay.
Yeah.
It does give us a little bit more about this. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it does give us a little bit more about the story of Barclay to find out that he's gone to Jupiter Station now. He's not on the Enterprise, and he's working as, at least at some point, as Dr. Zimmerman's assistant.
Yeah.
But he wasn't, because that was all fake, and it was just their holo emitters doing it. And how the heck did they know anything about Barclay?
Yeah, I mean, presumably the name of Dr. Zimmerman's assistant would be in the computer.
Yeah, he was on the team that developed the hologram. So he would be a name in.
That doesn't match with what they had later on with Lifeline.
It also doesn't really match with First Contact, where he's back on the Enterprise.
Yes.
Yeah. That's true.
Oh well.
So,
all right, so let's go to our next one. So now we jump into season 6, and now we get real Barclay. And this one is midway through season 6, and this is Pathfinder.
This is the one I remembered the most.
I will say this may be my favorite Voyager episode.
It's a really good episode.
I love it so much. And every time I watch it, I fucking cry at the end every single time. It's so stupid, but I do. I get all teary and all this kind of stuff. And I think it's a great use of Barclay. And Keith, we were talking about how you feel like he was like maybe regressed in his character, and they played up on his, shortcomings, we'll say, too much. But they gave at least an okay explanation for it, because we saw when we watched the Next Generation episodes, he got more and more comfortable in himself as we went along. And when he left the Enterprise, he was suddenly without that support network. He was without his found family, and he does regress. And I think that makes 100% sense.
Yes.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And so he's here, and he sort of adopts he goes back to his holodecks, and he sort of adopts the Voyager crew as his new found family. But his knowledge of them is limited.
Yeah.
And I think that's super interesting.
Yeah.
So anyway, what do y'all think?
Yeah, I think so too. And I do think it's, even though Barclay progressed over the course of Next Gen, I think it's certainly in character for him to be nervous talking to an admiral and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I like the use of the holodeck here because, like you said, that he doesn't his knowledge, there's gaps in his knowledge, and you can sort of see that watching the holodeck where Chakotay and them are in like the Maquis clothing and things like that.
Yeah. And Neelix doesn't play into it because he doesn't know what Neelix looks like or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
But he has named his cat Neelix, so
Right.
he's gotten the name
forgot about
because
that.
they've had contact with the ship at this point, or had they?
No.
This is when they
That
established
happens
contact.
later on.
This is after shipping a not shipping a bottle. The one where the doctor goes
Yes.
To the with Andy Dick.
Right. Yes, it is.
So
After
this is
that.
after that. So he has at least come back and been debriefed and then gone back to Voyager.
Right.
So they do have some information. That's how he knows what they know. Right.
Yes. So Kes and Neelix aren't necessarily in it because of that. Of course, this would be 7 now.
Right.
Never mind. I'm babbling. But no, it would be Kes because that would be the only thing that he would have known.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, who knows?
Yeah.
Minutia.
It's interesting though that this is your favorite episode. It's kind of like how Carbon Creek is my favorite Enterprise episode, and there's very little Enterprise in it. You know, it's like a different story on the show.
Yeah.
But this is kind of that way too. And I do like that they involve Deanna in these episodes. I think it's a little too easy for her to get back to Earth when she's supposed to be serving on the Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if it's this episode or the next one where she was like, "Well, we're 7 light years away. I can't what's the Enterprise doing 7 light years from Earth?" that's like real close.
That is.
Well,
that's 2 days travel.
Here's what I wanted to say about Deanna when we did our Next Generation episode. Is that one of the things that we have talked about many times with Deanna is that we rarely see her do her job.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we see her counsel the captain, but we never see her like hold office hours and have appointments with. We did once or twice.
Yeah.
But in these Barclay episodes, and especially in the Voyager Barclay episodes, we get to see her counsel.
Right.
We get to see her do her profession, and I really, really love that. And she spends so much time in this first one in Pathfinder really working with Reg and trying to help him through this issue. And she's on vacation or whatever it is, and she's like, "That's okay, I'll just clock in and we'll just talk." And I, you know, that Deanna is one of my favorite characters ever. So anytime that I get a good Deanna episode, I am all in. But with it, we get a good Reginald episode also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is considered one of the best of the Voyager episodes by the fans. Absolutely, gets really good ratings. The ending is, I agree with you. The ending is very emotional. And Kate Mulgrew can certainly throw it. She can act. The connection, the thought of you finally have a connection with the people, because frankly, people didn't know if they were alive or dead and all that kind of stuff for a long time. This is really good, and I do like the lesson of sticking to your guns sometimes, because a whole bunch of people tell you you're wrong.
And we rewatched these this week, and I hadn't seen them in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I did really enjoy too across these 3 episodes, this one and the 2 that follow, is seeing that DS9 era Starfleet. But not on DS9, because we watch DS9 all the time, but just watching just things that are going on just at a Starfleet facility and with those uniforms and that technology. And I thought it was really cool to see.
Yeah. That whole thing, the thing that you have waited for all these seasons of Voyager, is for them to find a way to make contact with the Alpha Quadrant in a regular and predictable way. And it finally happens in this episode, and it is so good. It's such a like punch your fist in the air kind of moment. And 2 things at the end, when Tom hears his father's voice.
Yeah. That's a good one.
And then the Voyager crew does their toast at the end to Mr. Barclay, whoever you are, you're part of the family now, or whatever they say. And man, and that there you have that whole like kind of like fast-paced runaround with him trying to get away from the security that's trying to like lock him up.
Yeah.
And, man, it's so good. This episode has everything.
Yeah, I did like too when he got carried away and was like, I think everyone forgets that there's 185 people trapped in that, and Admiral Paris is like, one of them is my son. I didn't forget that for a minute, son. He has to catch himself. I thought that was a good scene.
That was a good scene.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else to say about that one?
No, I think I pretty well
I
covered
love
it.
it. Okay. Next we have, oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Next we have Lifeline.
Mhm.
And talk about a good doctor episode. Man.
Mhm.
Robert
Now, Veronica,
Picardo, man.
You had some commentary when this episode started, right? Because you
Uh-oh.
know Dr. Lewis Zimmerman from his appearance on DSD Space Nine, right?
Yeah, and I was like, why is he old? Like right up front, I was like, he's not supposed to be old.
Right.
Haven't gone that far.
I know it's a few years later and he's sick,
Yeah.
but he does feel always like a different character
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
the one that appeared on Dr. Bashir, I presume.
Right.
You know?
Right.
That was my commentary.
Okay. Wow.
Why is he old?
Yeah. That was in depth.
Right?
So the doctor gets emailed back to Earth so that he can work with Zimmerman because Zimmerman is critically ill, basically.
Mhm.
Okay,
And
so
I'm finished.
okay, sorry.
no, go ahead.
So something I found interesting about the whole fact of them basically emailing the doctor back, and instead of sending a copy of him, so where it would be his consciousness in both locations, because that's something addressed in one of my favorite series, Bobaverse, where they're little ships and they can transfer themselves, but they found they're the same person if they shut down the one and then bring back up the other, as opposed to they're both there at the same time, because then they're separate beings. But
And
if they just move the entire thing, it's still the same person. They still have the same personality.
Yeah, or just copy the parts of my files that the other EMH Mark Ones don't have, and then upgrade one of those into being me. You know, like you don't even have to send the whole file because they have like the baseline doctor files already there.
You
know?
Yeah, true.
And
They
it's kind of weird that they're like, they sent all the Mark Ones to clean plasma conduits or whatever.
Why?
Like, just delete them. They're files.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now, Charles, they are sentient beings. You can't just delete
Those
them.
ones aren't yet.
I know that.
Yeah. But yeah, isn't that kind of funny that there's a bunch of Robert Picardos out there scrubbing plasma? Like, you don't have to
Makes no sense.
send the hologram somewhere. And like you say, like, I mean, you could send a bunch of copies of the files or send one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we see all those Robert Picardos at the end of Author,
Yeah.
which
Which
talk
is a
about in
silly
minute.
scene, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But what did
It's
you think
funny.
about the doctor, like helping Dr. Zimmerman?
That was fun.
It was fun.
Mhm.
He gets a good acting challenge out of it, as does Marina, because when you're dealing with somebody as stubborn, we'll say,
Ornery.
as ornery as Zimmerman is, and she's trying to help, and he just refuses. And she, she doesn't get frustrated easily, but she sure did at this one. And I don't know. I feel like it's a good episode for everybody involved. It would have been nice to see more of what was going on the ship, and like or did we? Because I haven't seen it in a while. Was there? We should have seen a medical emergency on the ship, and you don't have a damn doctor to take care of it because
Well,
you emailed your only doctor across the
You have
universe.
Paris. It's fine.
yeah, I was gonna say that goes back to
Paris
one of the stupid plot devices of all of Star Trek. The number one pilot is the backup medic for the crew. So yeah, you're right. I've never understood that idea.
Yeah, it should have been like, Ensign Jones,
Yes.
who's like, assigned to Jeffrey's Tube 12. You're the backup medic. If we have
Yes.
an emergency because you're not critical to the other operations of the ship.
Thank you,
Oh, my
not Tom
gosh.
Paris. You know what? I was just thinking about as you guys were discussing this, and Marina Sirtis and Rob Ricardo. One thing I guess I hadn't really thought about is how often the episodes with Barclay have a lot of other people around him. He becomes part of an ensemble. And it's almost like, I'm not a musician, but Alan, you know what I'm talking about. Like sometimes one person can be added to a group and they make the group better, even if they're not the star. And it seems like Dwight Schultz as Barclay, he inserts well into episodes with other people as well, even if he's not the main focus. And it works better. And I think it works because he works well with Marina Sirtis. He works well with Picardo. And I think that's what makes this an interesting episode on top of that.
Yeah.
And I also like what we find out that the Mark Ones are, Dr. Zimmerman at least sees them as failures,
Right.
and is embarrassed because they all have his face, right? And
Right.
so the idea that a Mark 1 could come back and save him when all the great medical minds couldn't, he just can't wrap his head around, you know?
Yeah.
So I like that you know, that the Doctor sort of proves that original Mark 1 had potential, you know?
Mhm.
Yes, and I do like the fact that you get that clear illustration of how much the Doctor's program has evolved over the 6 years that he's been on Voyager, the 6 years that he's been active.
Mhm.
I think that's absolutely fascinating that he comes back and Zimmerman has a particular idea of what this program is going to be, and it has changed drastically since then.
Mm-hmm.
I had another comment about projections that I just remembered.
Not too late.
Well, I'm going to comment anyway. So when I knew there was absolutely no way he was on Earth is when they started talking about the Kazon, because they didn't have any contact with Earth at that point, and there was no way that they would know about the Kazon. So obviously they were not from Earth.
But if the Voyager we've been watching is just a holodeck program, then the Kazon are just the bad guys.
They don't know about the Kazon.
Right, there are no Kazon. They're made up. That's why they look like Timu Klingons.
That's right. Exactly right.
That is funny.
Oh, the look she gives you.
I'm used to it.
So, how did y'all feel about Barclay in the episode? Did he feel "quote unquote" shoehorned into this one,
Not
or
this
did
one
you think
much.
he worked?
So I feel like Pathfinder, Lifeline, and Inside Man, he didn't feel a shoot in. A little bit, but not completely.
Well,
I feel like he was the character to be used in those.
I think once you establish him in Pathfinder, then it's fine here.
Right.
But,
Agreed.
But he's not the highlight.
Right.
Right. It's really Picardo and Picardo.
Yeah.
And then Barclay's also in it. You know?
Barclay's more in it because he's in charge of Pathfinder and he was the one that found it. So he's the one involved with getting the Doctor to Zimmerman.
Yeah. Well, we've done 3 and we got 3 to go. Should we take a break?
Sure.
Okay. Here we go. We'll be back in 30 seconds, gang.
It's like we're in a club.
Club Trek.
That's right.
All right. So that was
Lifeline.
Lifeline, which is, we'll say, the second part of a trilogy. And after that, we have Inside Man. And this is another really interesting one that I feel like has a great use of Reg in it. And it really picks up a lot from Pathfinder. And as you see, it's got Admiral Paris in it, who was in Pathfinder also. And I don't know, what do y'all think about this one? Because I think it's super interesting.
I thought it was interesting as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell pretty early on that that's not Barclay.
Right. Right.
He was too smooth.
Had you seen this movie before, Monica?
I feel like I have, but I didn't really remember it very well. I have no memory of Lifeline. Inside Man, it seemed kind of sort of familiar, but I don't know if that's just because there was a lot of stuff semi-related to Pathfinder in it, and I'm familiar with Pathfinder.
Yeah, I do like that the hologram version of him is a lot smoother.
Yeah.
Right.
But then also, I mean, as you go along, you discover that the Ferengi hijacked it and reprogrammed it. And what did you think about that revelation? You love Ferengi.
I love Ferengi. I don't see how the Ferengi could have reprogrammed that.
They have scientists.
Those guys didn't look like scientists.
No, but there's Ferengi another way around a holosuite, though.
True.
Exactly.
True. But they're not programmers of holosuites. They're the money collectors of holosuites.
Right, but somebody on Ferenginar has got to be, right? There's got to be Ferengi who are good at holosuites.
The Ferengi didn't create space travel, so why would they know how to program holodecks? They buy things from other people and then sell them for more profit.
Okay.
Interesting
I don't think
conversation.
the Ferengi would have been able to reprogram this thing to do whatever they wanted.
Okay, but I mean, Rom's a Ferengi. Nog's a Ferengi.
Yeah.
They're both very smart and good with computers and engineering.
Yes, but those look like average Ferengi.
Oh, I see. They
have friends who know how to do things.
Okay.
And they pay them well to do the things.
As I was saying earlier, Barclay is kind of a catalyst for all kinds of stuff going around him. So
Yeah.
like these conversations. One thing I do like about this episode is if you go back to Star Trek TNG, The Nth Degree, one of my favorite ones, the one where he got his brain boosted.
Yep.
Dwight Schultz is just a master of playing. He plays goofy in A-Team. He plays incredibly insecure in Star Trek. And then when he does the other type, it's not just sometimes you overplay one type of character so that the one you have to play the change shows.
Yes.
But he is innately a good actor where he can pull it off. Because I find it amazing that the picture you put out, Alan, Veronica called it. I think it's that one because he had a real creepy look on his face.
You mean this one?
Yeah. I think Dwight Schultz is a really good actor, so he sells the character. And I like the way he would do little things like he was incredibly charming to everybody else in the crew. Then as soon as people were out of earshot, he was at first dismissive and then kind of nasty and threatening toward the doctor. And I think he plays that really well, especially when the doctor's not at first sure what's going on. Like, wow, Reg, why are you talking to me like this? So I think he does a great job in it. I agree with Veronica. I don't buy the Ferengi part of it, but they threw it in there because I guess they had to.
Yeah. Let me get a comment real quick because after I ran that ad, Wayne says, still waiting for my autographed copy.
Yeah, I owe you that, Wayne. Next time we get together, I'm supposed to do that.
Lord, when will that be?
Yeah.
Maybe. Are you coming to Dragon Con at all?
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe there'll be a time. I know that Chuck and Veronica are going to be super busy this year, but maybe there'll be a time when all four of us can get together. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
All right. So anything else about Inside Man?
Not really.
Well, once again, I think it's interesting how he plays well against other people. And he and Robert Picardo really have a rapport when they're together. Yes. They play off each other very well. Yeah.
All right. Moving on to one that we have talked about kind of recently, and that is Author, which is a spectacular episode for the Doctor. Yes. Don't you think?
No, because I rewatched it this week and I was like, this is dumb.
Really?
Yeah, it didn't grab me at all this time around.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. I felt like the whole thing with his hollow novel that sort of parodies the Voyager crew and everything, I felt was way over the top.
That was way over the top.
Of course.
And I thought it was silly when they get into the publishing argument with people in the Alpha Quadrant. I don't know. This didn't work for me at all. And then at the end, like you say, you've got all the Robert Picardos working the mines and
and then before that, you get that bit where they just basically rip off Measure of a Man.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Measure of a Man, if it was 2 minutes long.
Right.
No, I didn't care for it. But why did you love it?
All right. Well, I don't know. Maybe it just speaks to me more because I author and I publish.
Okay.
And I'm like, hey, look, there's me on screen.
Yeah.
It's like if they had done an episode about a failed rock star, and then I would be like, hey, look, it's me again. Oh gosh.
I found it interesting
go ahead.
in the fact that it was basically this is an AI that wrote it, so it doesn't have any publishing rights. That was kind of what it was. And that's kind of relatable now.
Yeah, but it's the opposite moral of what we need.
Correct.
Because the AIs we have right now are not sentient. They're
Correct.
plagiarism machines.
Not yet. Not yet sentient. Just give it a month or two.
We'll see.
So how did you think Barclay played in this episode in terms of his contributions, I guess?
Meh.
Yeah. This is one that it's like, did he need to be there?
Mm-mm.
Probably not.
Yeah.
No, that part was not needed at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
There didn't even need to be someone in that role.
Right. And he did. He had his one appearance as a hologram in season 2. There was the 2 appearances in season 6. And then we get 3 appearances in season 7. And if one of them is going to be this, is it necessary?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
I would say no, because you could really kind of take Barclay out of it and not really affect the episode much in terms of the greater point they're trying to make with this episode.
So, Keith, here's a question for you. And that is when we were starting our discussion, and you were talking about when we see him on Voyager, it's a bit of a regress for his character. But do you think that I feel like he progressed throughout the season and became less and less of that, like relying on the phobias and the awkwardness and all that stuff, and became much more of a grounded sort of like self-comfortable character? Do you find that, or do you think it didn't? I don't know. I might be leading you too much on that.
I don't know, because that's not what the impression I came away with, but it may be because I haven't seen all the episodes like I need to. I do know that the validation of Pathfinder and stuff like that's going to help him. True. And again, I'm not saying people like that don't exist, because this would really come off as being insensitive, but I think for me, it was like the lady who used him, and then there was the this and there was the that. And it's not even that I don't believe people like that exist, because that's the point of mental health. I think, again, it was so much that it was that one character. Like, it was like they said, we want to have a character to be quote unquote regular in Star Trek, and Barclay became that for everything. I think that's my issue.
That's part of what it says in Memory Alpha is
that
it was like, I think they thought, hey, why don't we write a character that's just like the rest of the human race and put him on the bridge?
Right.
I bet fandom would identify with him.
Right.
And that was something that Dwight Schultz had said or wrote at some point.
And
Monthly, issue 30.
And I know people do, but he's almost like a strange mirror of Miles O'Brien in terms of suffering, but in a different kind of way. But I would have to look at them again to know if I really felt he had growth and development. One thing you said I do think is a good point, however, he was removed from the family he found and the confidence he found on the Enterprise to a new environment. That absolutely would set you back. I can see that.
Yeah, sure. So,
and Charles,
yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Charles, real quick, this episode gets like an 8 by the fans, so it is highly. It's high. Not that it's just
but like 8 for Voyager.
Wow. I thought that's score reserved for Enterprise.
And what is that on the Enterprise scale?
Oh, I mean, that's pretty good for Enterprise too.
Wow.
Holy cow. Oh, that's hilarious. So what was the occasion that we last talked about author?
Probably the AI discussions.
Oh, it was the AI discussion. That's right. And we didn't really talk at that time about the Barclay aspect of this episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And we've kind of said that, why is Barclay even there?
They really do use him like a seasoning for other people who have emotional and moral whatever problems. They drop him in like that. I don't know if it always works, but they seem to have adopted him for that.
They could have used Jake Sisko, who was an actual author and had actually published books, so that would have been fun.
Yeah. About that.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah. If y'all can see the video of the look on Charles's face.
I don't need Jake Sisko to be on Voyager.
He could be in a onesie again and everything.
No onesie.
Oh my gosh. Oh, the look on your face, Charles. It's like, I can tell you really didn't like this episode.
No, I didn't care for this one. I mean, I don't hate it. But this is not my
mean,
ideal Voyager. Yeah, at some point, Voyager crawled too far up its own ass, right? And so you have a lot of these sort of too cutesy, too self-referential, too enjoying themselves too much. You know what I mean? Instead of just telling what I think is good stories, I think this one is, to me, it just comes across as artificial. That I've written a novel, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, now what Paris's name was, but it's Paris with a mustache, with a different French city for his name, and you know what I mean? Like it's all just very obvious. And I would love to have seen the Doctor like write something that wasn't just his life and making fun of his friends, but write an actual story that this whole thing was. It's kind of like what they did in Strange New Worlds when they had that terrible holodeck version of Star Trek, and then they tried to say like, now we're going to explain how important Star Trek is. Like, I think if the Doctor had just created some story, it could be even, just like a fantasy story or a fable or something. And it didn't have to be what it was. And then have the discussion of, does he count? Is he a person? Like, where is this coming from? Does he count as an author? You know what I mean? Because I mean, honestly, if the holodeck on the show is making a story and it's just everyone on the show with mustaches and different names, then no, you don't get author credit for writing this.
Well, and that's interesting too, because this, at least, so this is like 3 different episodes all mashed into one.
Right.
Yeah.
And that part of the episode is sort of the same kind of thing that they do with Living Witness, except that Living Witness does it incredibly well.
Yeah, Living Witness is really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was the other thing I was going to say?
They did a similar sort of thing with the holodeck version that Barclay was living in earlier. They went back to that well several times, where it's like, what if we had the Voyager crew, but they were a little wrong, you know? Which I don't think works nearly as well here. I think this is probably the least effective version of that. But
Agreed. The one thing that did not get discussed in this episode is, and of course this has nothing to do with Barclay, but we talk about he's an AI, but he's also sentient. So does he have publishing rights and all that kind of stuff? But to your point, Charles, one of the things that they should have said was, is he just an absolute effing hack?
Right.
Because if this is the Hollow novel that is taking Earth by storm, I mean, that's kind of like saying 50 Shades of Grey was good literature because it was super popular, but it's not.
Right. Yeah, so, like it's like if I just wrote a story and then like Alan has a mustache and Keith has hair, and that's not very creative, you know. You know what I mean?
And I have short hair.
Right.
We should do a Hollow novel about our podcast.
We should do the Voyager version of us one time. Yes.
Oh my God, that'd be so awful.
Oh my goodness, it's so funny.
All right.
I have wigs.
Not to get too far away from the sillies, but we have one more to go, and it just happens to be the very last Voyager episode, and it is Endgame, and we have Barclay, like sort of future Barclay, where the ship has come home and it's been home for 10 years, and this is the Barclay that the crew, the actual crew, gets to know the actual Barclay. And I think that that's kind of nice after having all of the, you know, the back and forth across the galaxy, you know, to have them actually with the real Barclay is a nice payoff.
Yeah. And I didn't rewatch Endgame this week, so I haven't seen it in quite a long time. I remember him being an old man in it. Does it young Barclay ever appear? Like present day Barclay ever appear in the story?
I don't think so.
Okay. So it's just old him when they're at the beginning before Janeway goes back in time.
Yeah. And I don't, you know, because I just watched it this afternoon, but I didn't watch the whole episode. I just fast forwarded and watched the Barclay bits.
I got you.
But I don't remember there being any of like current Barclay. He was just future Barclay throughout the whole thing. So it's like them on Earth 10 years after they get back home is when they see Barclay. I could be wrong about that, but
the older possible future Barclay just reinforces my wish that they could have given us a post-arrival on Earth story for Voyager, because it would have been nice for the crew to see him, to actually meet Barclay.
Exactly.
But of course, that'll never happen. But I wish I could have seen that.
Yeah. And what was I going to say? We'll have to. I think what we should do is, if we ever decide to end our podcast, spend the last 3 episodes talking about the finales, the good series finales of Voyager, DS9, and TNG. The good one, the great one, and the best ever. And because I really
also, our last episode, we should all be in old age makeup. Like they do on Star Trek.
Oh boy, they've never gotten it right, have they? No. Never.
Oh, because there's so much to talk about in the Voyager finale that, you know, Barclay's a good part in it, but not a big part in it. You know,
right? Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you think? I mean, we've watched the Next Gens and now the Voyagers. Rewatched. I mean, I personally think that Barclay is a much stronger character, and the episodes across the board are better on Next Gen than they are on Voyager. I do like that aspect of just seeing a different part of Starfleet and the operations that are going on in that era of sort of that sort of, I guess, post Dominion War at that point era. But I mean, what do you guys think?
Keith, what do you think? I think, with the exception of Pathfinder, I agree with you. And I don't think it's anything against the character. I just don't know that he was. I mean, those three, that sort of trilogy that we talked about, he's very good in all of them. But I think that he's a crucial element in Pathfinder.
Okay.
And he's kind of the crux of the whole thing. And I think that he was used really, really well in that one.
Yeah.
And used well in the next two, but most strongly in Pathfinder. And so, but then, you know, in Next Gen, you have like that last one or two ones where it's like, it's Barclay, but why?
Yeah.
And it kind of follows that same pattern here. But I think the Next Gen ones are really, really strong.
Yeah.
And what's fun about him is that he could be used in Next Gen. He could be used to tell a kind of story that they didn't tell otherwise.
Right.
To explore different characteristics or different story possibilities that wouldn't be possible with any other character on the show. They had to bring in a character to do those kind of things.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a factor that's maybe a little bit missing in the Voyager episodes.
Okay.
Ironically, even though I will agree that he's probably stronger in TNG, and even though I made some comments about his his phobias and things, I actually like seeing him in the Voyager episodes because it's still neat seeing him get away from the Enterprise and life moving on. You sometimes never see what comes afterwards. And it's interesting to see him move to another post that's not another person on the starship and living on Earth, which I don't know how many people live on Earth in that time. It's interesting to see him still trying to pursue his life, and he was even dating and so forth. So I like that aspect of it, seeing Barclay, not on the starship all the time.
Yeah. Veronica?
Didn't I already talk?
Did you? Great. Because I have a hypothetical I want to throw out real quick. I know we're almost out of time, but what if they had, just like they did with Waxana and Q, shoehorned Barclay into DS9? What would have been the go-to? Like, here you have the Doctor connection because he's a holodeck, a hologram. What if they had shoehorned Barclay into DS9? And maybe we should save this for a what if episode, but just real quick. What character would have been his go-to character? Like, what situations would he may have found himself in?
He would have gotten along with Rom and Bashir, and Miles would have begrudgingly accepted
Well, he'd have
him.
known Miles.
Right,
Yeah.
but that's why Miles would have begrudgingly accepted him, because he knew him already.
Sure.
I think it would have been interesting to for him to visit and to sort of like powwow with O'Brien and be like, you're a Starfleet engineer who has had to adapt what you do to fit into a Cardassian technology, a Cardassian environment, and you have developed new ways of doing things because of that. And maybe the Federation is wanting to, I don't know, but I think that there's an angle there that could have worked.
Kind of like how the Doctor saved the Zimmerman with knowledge from the Delta Quadrant. Barclay could have, they wanted Miles to teach them something that could have helped them elsewhere in the, Yes,
exactly. Or it would have been cool if, especially when you get into the Dominion War part of it, if they want knowledge from Miles that would help them fight the car. I mean, I don't know what he would have that he wouldn't have shared in his reports anyway. I don't know. But I don't know.
I have no idea how to accomplish this. Yeah, I have no idea how to accomplish this, but if we're going to shoehorn him into DS9, I think it would be shoehorning. I would go completely against expectations and try to craft a story with him and Garrick or him and Worf. Something that makes no sense at all. Just to try to find
him
something
and Garrick would have been hilarious. Garrick, anyone is hilarious.
Yeah,
that sounds like something you do in a writing class where they throw something like that at you. And
Garrick
say,
would have been like so attached to him. He's like, "Ooh, look at this weird man. Let me get to know you." And then Barclay would have been freaking out even more than Bashir was. Oh no, that would be okay.
And Garrick
now,
like that.
Now I'm buying in on this.
Yeah, and also Garrick would definitely try to play on Barclay's insecurities and stuff to try to manipulate him. Absolutely. Yeah. I will say, all at the end of the day, again, if those who remember who've seen Dwight Schultz in the A-Team, and again, I love the episode The Nth Degree. I tell you, that man can act. So even when I think he's shoehorned into an episode, he's never boring. He always holds my attention. Yeah. He's a really good actor, and he really inhabits it. His character could be a caricature, and it borders on that sometimes, but he always makes it seem real. That I do. I like that about it.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that Lower Decks never did a Barclay episode.
I know, right?
That's what I was going to say a few minutes ago too, when we were talking about shoehorning him into other things, and I was going to think the perfect place for him to be would be Lower Decks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
why?
And even
Why?
and frankly, even Prodigy with all the stuff they started having with this and that,
Sure.
and Chakotay, there's a lot of ways you could pull him in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Alan, where can people find more of you?
CosmicCreative.com, KOZMICCreative.com, where you can check out our book, The Earth Station Trek Guide to Star Trek, and my other books, including my 2 newest Doctor Who books, which is Time Flight, 65 Years of Doctor Who History, Parts 1 and 2. And I am currently working on 2 other books, one about the history of women composers, and the other one about David Bowie in 80 songs. So
Nice.
Wow.
thanks.
And how about you, Keith?
You can find me on Facebook, primarily the ESO Network Facebook groups. And real quick, Charles, when you said Barclay in Lower Decks, now I can envision a statue of Barclay right next to the statue of Miles O'Brien as the second most important engineer in Starfleet history.
Yes.
And how about us, Veronica?
Feltnerdy.com.
That's right. You can follow Felt Nerdy across social media, or Felt Nerdy and Dirty across social media, or on YouTube for our adult puppetry content. And you can find us all over the place at Dragon Con. We'll be doing an adult show, a couple of all ages shows. We'll be in the National Puppet Slam. We'll be in the Dragon Con Puppet Slam. So we're going to be all over the place there.
Crazy.
And where else will find us?
Monkeying Around, a podcast about the monkeys.
That's right. And join us this coming Wednesday. We'll be joined by a guest, a Monkeys fan, to talk about our most skippable Monkeys songs. So that should be that should be a fun topic. So join us Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern at Monkeying Around. And what does anyone remember what we're talking about on this show next week?
Ooh, I don't know. I can't think of anything special that we have coming up.
Enterprise.
No. Of course, we'll be talking about the season premiere of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, season 4. We got New Trek again. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we'll have some strange new worlds this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. I'm hoping.
Have we heard if they're starting with 1 or 2 episodes next week?
I haven't heard that. No.
Then
So
it must be
Hope it's
1 then, or
one.
they would have said, I think.
let's hope. Because it's so much easier when it's 1.
Oh my gosh, it's so much.
Life
when
is
it's
just
2.
simpler when it's 1.
They only have 10 episodes. They can do 1 a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It'll
I'm so
keep
curious.
viewers longer.
You would think.
Yeah.
All right, Veronica,
All
do you have a closing for us this week?
Good grief.
Hold on. That's not supposed to happen.
Okay.
There you go.
Barclay quote
Yeah, you got to
that
thank
Wayne said.
You got to thank
Yeah,
Wayne,
thank Wayne
for giving
for
you a
that.
closing there.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks, Wayne. And trust me, that's the IT person's bane when you can say that. Oh, crap. That's not supposed to happen.
All right. Well, bye, everybody. See you
Thanks,
next week.
y'all. Take
Take
care.
care.